这个 r equals to 2 theta. So we want to see, we can list a few theta values and then draw the r, okay? So for example, when theta is, we list theta, and then we list the r. When theta is 0, r will be 0, right? And then when theta gives you, say, pi over 6, 那么这个 r 呢就 is going to be pi over 3. When 这个 theta 是 pi over 3, 这个 r 呢就是 2 pi over 3. 这个 theta 是 pi over 2的时候，这个 r 就是 pi。这个我们要差不多要把它用 3.14 要 put 进去，所以这就是一个差不多是 1.05 的样子。好，我们就要算一下啊。这边你可以用一个这个 dummy calculator 去做一下，就是你要算一下 2 pi over 3，你去输入一下这个2 pi over 3 2 times pi and then divided by 3，所以这差不多是 2.09， 就 2.1 就可以了。就差不多用 3.1。Based on this value, you will draw it. 你把这个最好打印出来，可以直接在上面画。这样子呢，这个 theta 当它等于0的时候，它就是0；当它等于 pi over 6的时候，它的 radius 是在 1.05 的样子，那就是比1稍微多一点点，对吧？然后 next one， 你会去算这个 pi over 3的时候，它差不多是在 2.1 的样子，那就是比 2多一点点。在 pi over 2的时候，它会到了 3.1 的地方，大概在这个样子，对吧 ？Right。然后呢，这个你可以再多画几个点，再 give a few more points。你再假如说到了 pi 的时候呢，这个就是 2 pi。2 pi 差不多就是 6.28。那在 pi 的时候呢，它就到了6了。1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6就要到这里出来了。OK， 差不多就到这儿了。然后呢，如果你这样子，差不多就是这个图形。OK， 呀，差不多就这样，所以你就可以给大家画出来。
OK，
呀。
Alright.
So actually， 考试的时候呢，you have to already know the shape. You have to know the basic one is r equals theta. When r equals theta, this is like 像蜗牛的曲线啊，这就是呀，一个 spiral 一样的东西。这前面如果放了个 2呢，那它这个变的话更快了，它这个 radius 会更大一点。那它这边是 negative 它就是会反方向去转了。我们可以 show example， 我们可以把这个 table 拿下来。我们把这个 table 拿下来呢 ，and then we will see， 当这个 theta 是 pi over 6的时候，这每个值都会要去变了。它这个变成了一个 negative pi over 12， 对吧？这个变成了一个 negative pi over 6，negative pi over 4， 这边是一个 negative pi over 2。然后呢，you have to, and when the radius is negative, you have to first change it to positive, right? So you want to first change this radius to be positive. So if you change this guy to be positive, 你的 theta 要去加一个 pi. So if this is pi over 12, if you need a radius pi over 12, this one becomes 7 pi over 6. 然后下面这个是一个 pi over 6, 然后这边就是一个 4 pi over 3. 我这边是一个what's your question?
I understand that part. Like, how did you get value?
You change. We always put r in front, theta second. That's how we represent the polar system, right?
Right.
So you flip this. You flip this r to be positive. You will add a pi for your theta.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we learned before spring break.
Yeah.
So this one here, when it's positive pi over 4 for the radius, and then the angle is pi over 2 plus pi, which is 3 pi over 2. And when this is pi over 2, this will be 2 pi. Okay. And then this thing is, you want to change this because when you write down this, it makes you confused. You don't know what's this, so you want to calculate. So it's here we will use the dummy calculator to calculate how much is this. So we can do the calculation. Pi divided by 12. This is give you 0.3, and then 7 pi over 6. And next, you can know this 1 times 2. Right, so this is going to be 0.52, and then 4 pi over 3. 然后呢，这边呢要用 pi 去除以4 ，pi divided by 4， 这个 radius 变成了 0.75. And then this is 3 pi over 2. 它这个就是 1.57 了 because 3.14 divided by 2. So we'll mark it 0.3. And 都很小啊，这边都很小。让我们 treat 这样吧。It's hard for us to mark on this, right? So we are going to treat this guy as 1. 这里是 0.5, 好不好？
Okay.
Otherwise, it's going to be too squishy. So first, we mark 0.3. 0.3, 7 pi over 6. 0.3, 那就是在这里了，对吧？在不到 0.5 的 position。然后呢，这个是差不多在这里。然后到了下一个是 0.52， 然后是 4 pi over 3， 那就在 close to 0.5 的地方 4 pi over 3。然后下一个是在 3 pi over 2， 但是这个已经到了 0.875 0.785， 差不多在这里 this location。到了 2 pi 又到了0了，是不是？到了 2 pi 又到了0了，这个时候呢，就到了 1.57 就到这个地方。OK 呀，所以它这个图大概这样画一下，就这样子的。OK 呀，它可以一直这样 go outside 啊。因为我们是如果拿手算的话 ，we won't be able to calculate so many points, right? We only can draw a few. Oh, this is a new one. The r square 等于 4 times cosine 2 theta. 这个我们就要想去算。How do we draw this one? For all this part test, if you don't know the shape, the first time you see it in the test, you won't be able to do it correct. So you have to basically know the shape before you do it, right? So let's see here. This guy, r square. Hold on, let me see. I think you have more other shapes. This one. These two are the same, right? All of them are the same.
The notes in the assignment aren't the same.
So this one.
There's this one, and then there's another one. Yeah, this one.
This looks like the same. A little bit different, very small difference.
Yeah, it's basically it's basically her just demonstrating to us what each of them are, because she wants us to write down what it is. Besides like graphing it.
But because the questions they ask you is only a few of them, they didn't show you all those general shapes. They are supposed to ask your student do this kind of graph. They didn't.
We already did the rows one.
Oh, you already did the rows one, right?
The rows I understood, except for like one of them. I want to ask you later.
Okay, yeah. So this thing, right? R squared equals this. So this is something like this. This is landscapes. Okay. This is landscapes. So we want to figure out the radius, the longest diameter. So let's figure out which one give us the longest one. R squared. So if you want this guy to reach to the maximum, that means you want your cosine 2 theta reach to 1. Okay? So if this reach to 1, your 2 theta is going to be 0, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then when this 2 theta equals 0, theta equals 0. So you can see when theta and r, when theta equals to 0, yeah, r squared. So you can write down this. Yeah, r squared is going to be 4. Correct? Yeah, this is 0. Cosine 0 is 1, right?
Yeah.
And then cosine 0 is 1. Then r squared is 4. So r will be 2 and negative 2, right? That means when r is 2, the angle is 0. When r is negative 2, the angle is also 0. But this one you will convert. You will make this to be 2, but you will make the 0 plus pi. Does that make sense? Yes.
Yeah.
You see here, you make this thing to be 0. When you got this 0, cosine 0 is 1. So this will be 1. So this r squared equals 4. When r squared equals 4, you can be 2, you can be negative 2.
Right.
And you have 2, 0, or you have negative 2, 0. You have negative 2, 0, you can represent it by negative 2 to 2, 0 plus pi.
Okay, yeah.
So you have these 2 points. One is 0, 2, means that location, right? And then you will have another one, which is right here. So this is its 2 maximum location. And then you know that your theta, cosine theta and cosine negative theta is going to be the same. So if you have some graph here, you will have a symmetric over this. When you have something here, you will have a symmetric over this, right? See here, this point is positive pi over 6. This point will be negative pi over 6. So you only care about how you draw this piece and that piece. And the other parts will be the same graph. Correct?
Yeah.
So let's see. We will give a few more points. See, when our theta is pi over 6, right? If we make theta, so for example here, if we make cosine 2 theta equals to 1/2, right?
Mm-hmm.
If cosine 2 theta is 1/2, then 2 theta is pi over 3, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Then theta is it's going to be positive and negative, right?
Right.
And theta is going to be positive, negative pi over 6. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that means when theta is positive pi over 6, then our r squared equals to 4 times 1/2. You got what I mean? Yes.
Yeah.
And this is 1/2. 1/2 times 4 is 2, so r squared is 2. Correct?
Mm.
So r is going to be square root 2 or negative square root 2. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's positive square root 2, then angle will be pi over 6. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
When it's negative square root 2, then it's going to be pi over 6. Okay? And then you flip this negative square root 2 to be positive square root 2. And you add a pi. So this is 7 pi over 6.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
So we will mark that 2 locations. You have pi over 6. Square root 2. Square root 2 is 1.414. You can make it close to 1.5. So you have points over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one, you will have at this location, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you will have a 1.4, but 7 pi over 6 over this location. As what we said, because you can have also a negative pi over 6. So that means you have a symmetric point over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yep.
So you have another symmetrical point over here. So it's going to be that location. And same thing for here. You will have another one. Yeah. You don't need to draw every point. You don't need to list all of them. You have a few points. You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can connect.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
That's number 3. Number 4.
Oh yeah, this is the one I was confused on.
We have to manipulate it with the formulas. The
Mm-hmm.
formula for double angle formula, let me check you for this. Who is sine alpha plus beta? That's a formula we learned a long time ago, right?
I don't remember.
This is sine alpha times cosine beta plus cosine alpha times sine beta. Correct?
Okay.
So it's okay. It has been a really long time. So if you do alpha equals beta, then this is sine 2 alpha. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is 2 sine alpha times cosine. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you have this, that means look at here. Who will be this?
Okay.
This is r squared is equals to negative 25 times sine 2 theta. Make sense?
Okay.
This guy is a double angle formula, right?
Right.
Okay. And then we will do the same thing as what we did for this one. We will do similar work as what we did over here. So we want to, when we do this thing, we always want to look for the greatest length first. So we can first try to figure out sine 2 theta. For here, this is negative, so I want to sine 2 theta to be negative 1. Make sense?
Yeah.
When this is negative 1, 2 theta will be?
1.
Negative pi over 2, right?
Wait.
Sine negative pi over 2 is negative 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we make this. And then this can be negative. So theta will be negative pi over 4. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So that means if theta is negative pi over 4, then r squared is going to be positive 25. Correct? You see, when this is negative pi over 4, double of this is negative pi over 2. Sine negative pi over 2 is negative 1.
Okay.
So this is negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 25 is positive 25. Right? Yeah, it's kind of overwhelming, right? It's too much.
Trying to process it. Yeah, okay.
So when we remember those formula, sine 0 is 0. Sine pi over 2 is 1. Sine pi equals 0. Sine 3 pi over 2 equals negative 1. Sine 3 pi over 2 is same as sine negative pi over 2. Okay?
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So when r squared is 25, and then you do r equals to plus 5 or minus 5. Correct?
Okay.
And then if r is positive 5, your theta is negative pi over 4. If r is negative 5, your theta is still negative pi over 4. But you don't want to keep the negative radius. You flip this to be positive, you will add a pi. This guy plus pi will be?
5 pi over 4.
Negative pi over 4 plus pi.
3 pi over 4.
Yes. So far, so good?
Yeah.
So let's mark these 2 points, okay? So the longest one first is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 is here. 5 negative pi over 4. Negative pi over 4 is here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This. And the other one is that guy. Correct? This is 5 and 3 pi over 4. Make sense? Now, Lem's-Gate, the graphing part, the curve itself is not complicated, but this part makes students confused. So you want to figure out the longest thing first, right?
Yeah.
You want to figure out longest. And then what you want to do, you want to use the guy which you know. So sine 2 theta, the easiest value will be make sine 2 theta equals to 1/2, right? Or negative 1/2, right? Negative 1/2, because this is negative.
Yep.
So you say, okay, I'm going to make this guy to be negative 1/2. Then your 2 theta will be how much?
Negative pi over.
Good. Negative pi over 6. So theta will be?
Pi over 12. Negative pi over 12.
Good. Negative pi over 12. So now, based on this, you will pull this one back. Make sense? So you will put this guy here. So far, so good? Then tell me r squared this time becomes to what? R squared is negative 25 times sine negative pi over 6, which is?
Like 14.5-ish.
This is negative 0.5 times negative 25. This is 12.5, right?
Yeah, 12.5, sorry.
So this is 12.5. And then you want to square root. So see, we don't know how much is square root of 12.5. But we know that this is 25 over 4, right?
Right.
Because 25 over 4 is 12.5. So if I times 2 for bottom and top, and then 25 square root outside is 5. The bottom one square root outside is 2. Correct?
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And we need 5 over 2 is 2.5. Square root 2 is 1.4. 1.414. This is the number we need to know. Okay, so we roughly calculate.
Okay.
Yeah, go. How much is this? 0, 0, 1, right?
Yeah.
And then you put 2, 5.
Like 3.5. Okay.
3.5, right? So when you do square root, you will have plus minus 3.5. Make sense?
Okay.
So then you will see, okay, if my radius is positive, my theta is negative pi over 12. And if I have a negative 3.5, then my theta is still this, but I don't like the radius to be negative. So I flip this and I will add a pi, right?
Right.
I add a pi, this becomes to 11 pi over 12. Make sense?
Yeah.
So this part is negative pi over 6. A half of it is going to be a negative pi over 12. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So this guy is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to use this half of it. So this is a 1, 2, 3. 3.5 will be here, right?
Yeah.
Right. So the next points is going to be 1, 2, 3, 3.5. Right here. Because this is a half of 0 and negative pi over 6. So this is on the line of negative pi over 12. Make sense?
Yeah.
And this guy go the other side. This is pi over 12. So that is 11 pi over 12. Makes sense?
Yeah.
So the point is going to be somewhere over here. 1, 2, 3. So 3.5 is here. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Right here. Correct?
Yeah.
So you might see, oh, I see. And the graph is going to be like this. That's called a landscape. Yeah.
All right.
But if you still don't feel confident, you can do one more point. because we also have another one more point. We know we can choose green, and then we can say sine 2 theta. So far, so good?
Yeah.
I'm going to make it to be negative square root 3 over 2, okay?
Okay.
So if this is negative square root 3 over 2. Oh, by the way, do you have more worksheet, or that's what you have so far?
This is the only one that I like really had a question on.
Okay, so we can go deep into this one. So
Yeah.
sine 2 theta equals negative square root 3 over 2.
Uh-huh.
You will have r squared equals to negative 25 times negative square root 3 over 2. Okay? Yeah, but this time somehow we have to use a calculator. 12, negative is positive. 12 over 2 is 12.5 times square root 3. So we still have to use a dummy calculator to figure out the radius. So type in this and do the square root. So that gave me the r as positive negative of 4.65. You got the same?
4.65, yeah.
Yeah. So don't feel sad. Say, oh, this question is so hard for me. Everybody feel hard, not only you, because Dulles Academy is a math and science academy. That's why they torture students so much. Yeah, I have a student just recently transferred from your school to back to Hawkins, and then the student feel way more better. So your school stress level is really, really high. But don't blame yourself. Just work hard. Whatever happened already happened. Don't look back. Just look forward. Okay? You know, the students from Clements and Dulles, when you get out of the high school and go to a college, you feel your guys are the smartest guy. No other school learns so hard thing. This is college level. No kidding.
Yeah.
This is college level. No kidding. Okay? Yeah. So you do here, the theta, 2 theta equals to who? That this equals this.
Pardon?
So sine of who gave you this? That's negative 60 degree, which is negative pi over 3.
3
Exactly.
-huh.
So that means theta is negative pi over 6, right? Right. So you do negative pi over 6, and then your radius, your r squared is going to be 12.5 times square root 3, so that you can write the r as plus minus 4.65. That means if you choose the positive 4.65, it's going to be negative pi over 6, right? Yeah, this radius positive, and then you choose a negative 4.65, and then the angle will be this, and then this one, and then 5 pi over 6. Yeah, I have some students, they go to college, they call me back, they say, teacher, I used to think I'm the dumbest in Clements or Dulles. No, I'm the smartest girl. I'm the smartest boy. Yeah, your school learn 2 difficult things. You have these 2 points, then let's mark it. The first one is negative pi over 6. So negative pi over 6 is this on this line.
Right.
Okay, it's on this line, and the angle is, the radius is 4.65. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.65. So it's around here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's around here.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you go the other way. When you have 5 pi over 6, 4.65, it's over there. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And because this guy, this is the longest one, so it has symmetric. So whatever the points, it's going to appear over here. So that means you can connect them by the smooth line. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what's going on. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So when you look back this, the thing you feel scared about this is because this double angle formula you forget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you say, oh, you are scared about the negative. Don't worry. Negative just means you want to make that guy to be negative. So you make that guy to be negative, you will make the r squared as positive. Because previously it's r, but here is r squared. That means you have a pair. You have one positive, you have one negative. For the positive, you write down. For the negative, you flip it. So during the real test, if you don't have enough time, you can skip this. You can point to this guy. Yeah, you can write down the longest one. And you know this is a typical landscape. When you have a r squared equals to even a positive or a negative number, doesn't matter. If you have sine 2 theta or cosine 2 theta, and you have a plus and minus something, that means you will square root this one, and you based on the angle that you found out as the longest radius, you will have these two pairs. Okay, did you see?
Mm-hmm.
You can see this one. This is cosine 2 theta. Because it's cosine 2 theta, that means you are at the longest on 0 and pi. Because cosine 0, cosine 2 pi is 1. That's what's going on.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, feel better?
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So I would like you to practice this or play with this. So you see all the basic shape is right here. This one is showing all the basic shapes. We can make our own stuff. Now we can start over. Don't let this make us so scared. We can make our own. You type in with me together on your calculator. Go to the Desmos website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
R equals A. Are you with me?
Yep.
A plus B times cosine. And then when you do this, you see this location of theta. When you choose the letters, you will see the theta on this location. Do you have it now?
Let me just find it. Where did you find it again? Can I see?
Yeah, it's this. Did you see here?
Wait, where?
Yeah, on the very right, under letter P. On the very right column, the most right part. Did you see the theta?
Yep, I got it.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you can add a slider. You can add a slider for A you can add a slider for B. After you add the slider, you will have this shape. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think your school forces you to remember the name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when A and B equal, what's this called?
Heart-shaped lemison.
This is called a cardioid, right?
Spheroid, yeah.
And if, so for here, you see it's cosine. This is cosine. That means when theta is 0, you reach to the right. That's your diameter location. So this is, you see, this is plus B, right? If I change to minus B, it's going to flip to the left. You see?
Yeah.
If I change this to be cosine, change to be sine.
Oh.
It's going to be the upper part. Make sense?
Yeah.
If you change this to be negative, it's going to be the down part. Right? Yeah. Makes sense?
Yeah.
And A equals B, you have this shape without inner loop. This one, you don't have an inner loop. So now, let's figure out in what scenario you will have an inner loop. So you can change your B value, or you can change your A value. So we make the A a little bigger, or A a little smaller. Oh, did you see?
Yeah.
As soon as the A absolute value is less than B, you start to have this inner loop. Make sense? Yeah. So you want to write down this. You want to summarize this on your own notes. What have you do? Because for this part test, they want you to immediately being able to draw the graph, right? And also writing down the correct name. So you need to summarize this by yourself and remember it. So your basic shape, you say A plus B times cosine theta, right?
Right.
So this one. So if A absolute value equals to B absolute value, right? This thing, this is a cardioid. It has that kind of shape. Let me do here. If A and B equal, it's going to be that shape without a loop. Okay?
Yeah.
Let me change the A to B. So this thing. Right? Right. And if this is R equals to A minus B times cosine theta, then you know that this guy is going to flip to the left.
Right.
Like that. If it's sine, then it's going to be like this. If it's minus, it's going to be like this. Right? Okay. So this is no inner loop. This, when A and B equal absolute value, no inner loop. But when A absolute value is less than B absolute value, you will have a small inner loop. Correct?
Yeah.
And if A absolute value is greater than B, it's like those kind of seashell, those kind of animal in the sea. It's moving like by shaking its body, right? Yeah. So for example, if you change A to be 2, you see, it has this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what this is. Okay. So if this guy has this, and if this one, this looks like those kind of sea animals. So that's a summary for this typical stuff. This is type 1. Type 2, you will have those landscape that we have just now. The landscape is always this, R squared equals to a guy times either cosine 2 theta or A times sine 2 theta. Make sense?
Will it always be 2 theta?
Yes.
For limit?
Yes. Okay. Landscape always using 2 theta.
Okay.
This is for the R square scenario. This is what we did for this question here and for this question here. Okay. Make sense? Yeah. So type 1 is this. But this type 1 already have many different scenarios already, okay? And type 2 is this landscape. But what you need to know is when you see this, when you were given here, you without spending a long time to figure out the shape, you already know who is this. Yeah, you have square, you have 2 theta. If this is no square, no, this will be rose meadow. If this square is going to be the landscape. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so R square and 2 theta is typical landscape. You either horizontal if it's a cosine, or you have this kind of rotation, you know? Yeah. Why this guy has rotation? It's because sine 2 theta equals to 1. So 2 theta is pi over 2. So theta will be pi over 4. If this here positive, you have that direction landscape. If here negative, you have that direction landscape.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
So this is type 2. The reason they put negative here, you want to go that direction. If this is positive, you will have that direction. Okay? And type 3 will be those rose petal, right? Yeah. So you have, let me see if you remember. If I have sine 3 theta, how many petals do you have?
3.
Yes. And you want to know, without figuring out all the numbers, you should know the 3 rose petal major directions. So the first direction, you want to make this equals to 1, right?
Yeah.
You want to make this equals to 1, so 3 theta is pi over 2, right? See? Makes sense? So theta will be pi over 6. Yes? Right. That means this first rose petal direction is there. And then the other 2, you can draw it easily, right?
Right.
Yeah. Makes sense now?
Yeah.
All right. So you get your first one, and then you get the second one and the third one quickly. And if I say R equals to cosine 3 theta, that's even easier because you make cosine 3 theta equals to 1. So 3 theta equals 0. So your rose petal, first petal is here, and then you will have the other 2 there. Makes sense?
Yeah.
And then R equals to this. Who is this?
4 petals.
Yeah, 4 petal. So we have to figure out these 4 major directions. Do you think? How do we figure out those 4 petal directions?
Make it equal to 1.
Yeah. 2 theta will be?
2 pi over 2.
Theta is?
Pi over 4.
Yes. So the first direction is here, and then you have the 4 direction evenly distributed over the 2 pi. So you have that. Make sense?
Yeah.
Feel this easy now, right?
Yeah.
And then let's see cosine 2 theta.
Well, it's just gonna be on the axis then, right?
Yeah. So 2 theta equals to 0, right?
Yeah.
Theta equals 0. So this is also easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah.
What will happen? They give you a 4 theta.
4 theta, then it's gonna be 8 petals.
Yeah. So if they give us cosine 4 theta, that means 8 petals. What do? You draw this first 4 petal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you will add those between those things. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You can add this one. Yeah, but you at the same time you want to shrink this a little bit skinny. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As long as you can have the major petal location correct, you will get the point. So if you want to check, is that really true? For example, r equals to 4 times cosine. You see? Easy, right? You draw the x, y, 4 petals already, and then you can squish the other 4 between. Make sense now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's not so that crazy, right?
Yeah.
Right, see? So we summarized each one has many scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last type is going to be this thing, which we already did. Yeah? Mm-hmm. This thing, including r equals to theta, r equals negative theta, r equals theta times 2 times 1/2, doesn't matter. It is always like this. If you really still feel confused, say what's going to be the real shape, it's something like this. Okay? It's something like this. Yeah.
Also, for those, when we graph it, do we need to graph anything past like what we already, the points that we already have, or no?
Sorry, say one more time your question.
Like I said, if I only plotted like 4 points for my spiral, I don't graph anything outside of that, right?
So for here, you are already outside this. If you want, you can just draw something a little bit longer.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Teacher cannot say you are wrong because you don't have the grade point. You can really not do anything, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. This is good enough. She majorly checks these few points first.
Okay, so say for a question like number 2, I don't need to extend the graph. And you
I think this one we might have to extend a little bit more longer.
Okay.
Yeah, we may have to extend a little bit more longer.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we give a few extra points we can graph.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not too hard, right? Just increase, but beginning you increase by so tiny thing. When you become greater, you can, for example, this one, you can just double it. You say 2 pi, right?
Yeah.
And then this 2 pi, this will be negative pi. Radius is going to be pi, and then theta will be 2 pi. 2 pi plus 1, which is 3 pi. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
3 pi. And then this is same as pi comma pi. But you don't like this guy to be as pi. So you feel confused, so you will rewrite 3.14 pi. 3.14 pi. 1, 2. Also, we count this as 1, this as 2, this as 3. So the point is going to be there. Yeah. So that next point is going to reach here.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
So the next point is going to boom jump here. Okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
The teacher won't be picky. Say, oh, that's not exactly on the points. You list the first few correct. You have the idea. You take care of the negative thing correct. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. As I believe we have already summarized all the different types. There's no other kind of polar system graph. Yeah, we have already covered everything. That's all.
Yeah.
So after the polar system, you have the quiz on which day for this part?
For this specific, I don't think we have that quiz. Next Tuesday.
Oh, it's a quiz or a test?
A quiz.
Okay. What's the next topic?
Copy. I could take a picture of our calendar.
Yeah. Okay. You can send me you can upload a calendar, or you can just send me a message by phone.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I'll give you this summary. But look, the thing is, I show you doesn't mean that you can do it independently. So after the class, you redo it by your hand, and then in the test, you feel confident you are ready to go.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Be positive. You can do well. Calm down. Don't panic. Everybody has been through like that, especially at your school. So be optimistic. You will be fine. Okay?
All right.
All right. See you next week.
See you.
Okay. Bye-bye.